I want to welcome you to our one service this morning. I've been looking forward to this service for 16 years. And so we finally get to do it. If you're a guest or a visitor, this is Doug and Rhonda's last Sunday as they sail off into retirement in the beautiful state of Arizona. So we're going to do a different kind of service this morning. I'm not really going to do a big come to Jesus sermon. We're just going to talk about Doug and Rhonda and honor them, and you get to be a part of that. And then we have our guys and gals are cooking up the burgers and hot dogs, and I saw some of the sides that you brought in. I don't even think you need a hamburger, man. There's some good-looking sides in there. So we just want to praise God. Let me pray. Father, we thank you for the fact that you established the church, and that in establishing the church, you knew how important friendships are, relationships are. You wired us that way. And we just thank you for Doug and Rhonda, who led the pack in showing us how to do that. To know them is to love them. To work with Doug is a different thing. And we just thank you for gifting us with them. In Christ's name, amen.
Check. We're off to sorry, Doug. Not off to a great start here. Well, like Andy said, we're going to have a few people that are going to share, and Mary and I are going to start things off about Doug and Rhonda, who's behind me, so this is going to be fun, going like this the whole time. I don't know how many of you know our story, but Mary and I came to North Dunedin in October 2012, and the thing that started the whole conversation was, at the time, I was working as a part-time youth pastor at Skycrest Baptist Church, and I was also working for the school. And Miss Burton was a teacher there, and we were on an 8th grade retreat, and it happened that I guess as the night had kind of ended and the dinner was done and everything, we were sitting together at a table, and she just kind of asked me, what do you want to do? Like, what is your plans for your life or your goals or whatever? And I told her, I said, hopefully my hope one day is to be a full-time youth pastor. And so I don't know what the timeline was between that and this, but not much longer later, Mary and I were at a Rays game for a friend's birthday party, and I got a Facebook message from Miss Burton that said, hey, our church, North Dunedin Baptist, is looking for a youth pastor, and your name came to mind. Would you want to talk to our pastor, Andy? Little did I know what it would be like meeting Dr. Andrew Strawn. So God orchestrated in such a beautiful way, brought us here to North Dunedin Baptist because of that just random relationship over at Skycrest. And then I found out that Andy, Doug, Alan had all worked at Skycrest like right before I started working there. So there are all these crazy ties. They've been such a support to me and Mary throughout our time here. The first vacation Bible school I had to run was that summer 2013. And I don't know if you've ever participated in a VBS, but it takes a lot of work. And I was just absolutely overwhelmed, didn't know what I was doing. And she came up beside me, helped me the whole way through, and made it such a great success. Doug is a humble, caring man who is not prideful in the least, at least in my interactions with him. When I came here, he was leading the praise band at first service. And a couple years later, Annie and I had talked, and I had expressed my desire that I would like to try leading the praise band as well. And we talked with Doug about it, and where Doug could have been upset or angry or, whatever, Doug kindly, was probably glad too, turned over the reins of the praise band to me. The one thing I would say when I think about Doug as a minister, as a pastor, is that he has one of the most caring hearts that I've ever seen. Anyone that's spent any amount of time with him, when you're with him, you feel that he genuinely cares about you. I've been on a few visits with him to members of our church, whether they're in the hospital or at their homes, and a couple really stand out. One was to one of our founding members, Roberta Hardin. It was towards the end of her life. Her and her brother were visiting together, and Doug and I went to go sit with them for a little bit. They couldn't communicate. They couldn't talk at all. It was a difficult visit. And as a young pastor, I had no clue what to do in that situation. If it would have been me by myself, the visit would have lasted 1 minute, and I would have turned around and left. Doug sat with them, tried his best to hold a conversation with them, told old stories that they remembered about their lives and his interactions with them, and just gave them the attention and the dignity that they deserved. One of the things I love about Rhonda is her convictions. When Rhonda is convicted about something going on, she will let me know. But the thing that I love about her is that it's never judgmental, it's never mean. It's in a spirit of love and care for that person. She wants to honor God, but also care for the person that maybe isn't living in a way that honors God. And so I appreciate that because she does it not in a way that's judgmental or mean or uncaring, but kind and loving. I'm going to turn it over to Mary because I know she has some things to say about Rhonda.
Okay, I'll try to do as much as I can, but I have to put this down. So I don't work off bullet points. I have to write the whole thing out, so I'm just going to read this. Here, can you put this up so I can? Okay, if I can't do it, then Kyle will do it. Okay. Okay, so Rhonda has loved me through so many different seasons in my life. She has been a constant supporter, mother figure, friend, and encourager for me since the first moment that I met her. She and Doug are the ones that we've turned to during different valleys and struggles in our marriage. Rhonda has been with me through my mom's cancer diagnosis and death, visiting my mom at our first home so that she could meet her in person before she went to heaven. She has celebrated our 2 boys and grieved with us over the one that we didn't get to bring home. She's the one that I turned to for help and wisdom when I felt so far from God. And I didn't know where to start to rebuild that relationship. She's cheered me on in every season of life over the past 10 years and has faithfully prayed for me, gently and lovingly corrected me, and held me up when I felt like I was sinking. She's the type of woman and Christ follower that I long to be, and it has been an absolute privilege and an example of God's grace towards me that I've gotten to be in Rhonda's life and that she's gotten to be a part of mine. Okay. Doug, dude, Kyle's BFAP, thank you for loving my husband and myself so well. Thank you for being the one to introduce me to hymns for the first time in my life. I fell in love with so many of them because of you. Thank you for being such a safe place for Kyle and for myself and for loving our boys so much. We cherish the time that we've spent with you both over the years and look forward to the memories that we'll make together in the future. Although we won't get to see each other as often now, the deep friendship and love that we share tells me that this isn't goodbye forever. And we're so very happy for you both, and we're thrilled for this next season of life that you get to enjoy together. So, congratulations.
Just a couple of quick things, sorry. When Mary was going through just a spiritual drought, as she was mentioning, and I don't know if she remembers this, but there was one morning we were on the couch talking together, and she said, I know exactly what I need to do. I need to talk to Rhonda. That was her go-to when she thought of someone that would help guide her through that season, and she did. 2 things I want to end on. Mary wanted me to show this picture of her and Rhonda. This was at the Christmas party. There you go. That's them. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. This was me and Mary at Trunk or Treat, dressed up as Doug and Rhonda. This was several years ago. The sad thing is my joke was to sprinkle a little bit of gray in, and apparently it never came out when I put it in. I hope that I have a pinky's worth of the integrity and love for people that you have, Doug. I do. You're an amazing minister, man, friend, husband, father, all of those, the grandfather, and I hope that I can emulate that in any way, shape, or form. Thank you for everything you guys have meant to us. Thanks. Well, would you stand? We're going to go ahead and move into our time of hymns. Let's start with Great is Thy Faithfulness. Great. All right. You guys can have a seat. Continue on with Amazing Grace. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear, the hour I first believed. The Lord has brought
Well, good morning. You know, I must have missed the memo because the memo said to wear either an Alabama shirt or a Rays shirt, and I thought I was supposed to wear a shirt of a winning team. So, sorry about that. Boy, Andy, they turn on you fast. They really do. So I don't know if you know this, but Pam Austin and I have known Doug and Rhonda for a quarter of a century, 25 years. We used to live in Seattle, and in 1997, we moved here when I graduated high school, in fact. Yeah, thank you. And we wound up at Skycrest Baptist Church and immediately became good friends with Doug and Rhonda. And I'll never forget, we were telling them about when we lived in Seattle, there was a local coffee chain called Starbucks. Again, 25 years ago. And they had aspirations to spread nationally, and one of the towns that they were going to target was to build a Starbucks in Clearwater. So we got them all excited for us. They humored us. And when the Starbucks was built, we all went there, the 5 of us, after church one Sunday. And after I picked up the drinks at the counter, I'll never forget this scene. I can still see it. Yeah, Mary, I might join you in crying. Yeah, I know. I turned around, and Pam and Rhonda were busy chatting away, and Doug was with Austin, who was 5 years old, and the two of them were hunched over a little chessboard playing chess together. I won't tell you who won, but his first name starts with A, okay? But I love them because they were totally immersing themselves in the lives of everybody in our family. And over the 25 years, wow, we've had such great memories, so many highlights. One of the big highlights for me, at least, and I think for you guys, was when you got to join us on a trip to Israel. As you know, I lead groups to Israel, and many years ago, they got to join us. And there were 2 big events that happened on that trip to Israel that I will never forget. They still make me laugh to this day. Usually the big events on a trip to Israel are spiritual. For some reason with these guys, nothing spiritual. The first event took place in Bethlehem. You remember, right? Bethlehem's kind of an interesting city. When you get there, it's Palestinian controlled, and so they kind of take over the tour. They pushed me and my Israeli counterpart aside, and they come on and they guide the tour in Bethlehem. So the Palestinian tour guide jumped on the bus, and literally, I'll just say it, he began hitting on Rhonda, okay? He saw her blonde hair, her beauty, and he was going on and on, and I'm looking at Doug, and finally Doug said, "This is my wife." And so that didn't stop this guy. He started trying, and I'm not kidding you, he started trying to buy Rhonda from Doug. Am I right? He offered her money, or him money, and camels. And so we've laughed about that to this day. He almost did it. Doug has told me 5 more camels, he would have been there. The other event, and I know Doug's going to cringe, but I'll be careful. We're in a church. I'll be careful how I tell this story. But I still laugh so hard to this day. He and I reminisce about this all the time. Doug was standing out in front of a hotel in Jerusalem. And just so you know, in Israel, the currency is the shekel. But it turns out in Hebrew, there is a curse word that almost sounds like shekel. It has a couple of extra letters in it. Doug is standing outside our hotel counting the coinage of shekels he has in his hands. And he gets to, 50. And for some reason, which I don't know to this day, he shouts out in his loudest voice, "I have 50 curse word." And I see all these Israelis walking by, and they're looking at him like horrified. But he didn't stop there. He said it again in his loudest voice. He was like proud of all these curse words he had. He said it again and a third time. I am doubling over, laughing so hard, I'm crying. And I can't say it because I couldn't talk. I was laughing so hard, I couldn't tell him to stop. I finally had to run up to him. Do you remember this? I put my hand over your mouth. And then I whispered to him what he was saying. Well, anyway, these guys, we have a lot of great memories over the years, but they definitely go much deeper. These are truly deep people. And, the words that Kyle said are so true. I will tell you, Pastor Doug is the real deal. I have gone on many visitations to nursing homes, hospitals, shut-ins, and he has got a true pastor's heart. What you see is what you get. None of this is a facade. He is the real deal. It has mentored to me. It has taught to me. The two of you continue until now you're moving to visit Pam and to ask about her every time you see me. And that has meant so much to me. And again, I can't thank you enough. Everything you guys do is ministry. You know, some people would say, okay, you were a teacher for decades. You saw that as ministry, and it showed. And obviously your job, total ministry as well. And you know, when I look back at the things you've done, music obviously is another one. I can't tell you how many times your music has brought me to the throne of God. Even times when I was preaching, what I preached didn't bring me there. Your music that day would do it. And that has meant a lot to so many of us. In closing, I'll just say this. A few years ago, when I was a pastor on staff here, I preached a sermon on hearing God. That was one of the most often asked questions I get is people saying, how do I know? How can I hear God? And so we talked about the different ways that the Lord speaks to us. He speaks to us obviously through his word. Sometimes we have a divine dialogue with him, which we call prayer. And if we're tuned in, we will hear from him as well. He speaks to us through circumstances. He impresses things upon our hearts. He speaks to us through music. But one of the greatest ways he speaks to us is through people. And I just want to say, Pam and Austin and I, and this entire congregation, are grateful to have been recipients of hearing God speak through both of you to us innumerable times. We love you guys. We thank you. We wish you well. I feel like this is a funeral. This is horrible. We are going to miss you so much. And I just want to keep saying how much we love you, and God bless.
It does feel like a funeral. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Kyle and Mary. We love you guys. The song we're going to sing this morning is taken from Revelation 5, and I just wanted to give you this background. The Apostle John is on the island of Patmos in prison, and he has a glimpse of heaven. And he wrote in Revelation 5, "Then I saw in the right hand of him who was seated on the throne a scroll written within and on the back, sealed with 7 seals. And I saw a mighty angel proclaiming with a loud voice, 'Who is worthy to open the scroll and break its seals?' And no one in heaven or earth or under the earth was able to open the scroll or to look into it. And I began to weep loudly because no one was found worthy to open the scroll or to look into it. And one of the elders said to me, 'Weep no more. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Root of David, has conquered, so that he can open the scroll and its 7 seals.'" Do you feel the world is broken? We do. Do you feel the shadows deepen? We do. But do you know that all the dark won't stop the light from getting through? We do. Do you wish that you could see it all made new? Is all creation groaning? Is a new creation coming? Is the glory of the Lord to be the light within our midst? Is it good that we remind ourselves of this? Is anyone worthy? Is anyone whole? Is anyone able to break the seal and open the scroll? The Lion of Judah, who conquered the grave. He is David's root and the Lamb who died to ransom the slave. Is he worthy? Is he worthy of all blessing and honor and glory. Is he worthy of this? Does the Father truly love us? Yes. Does the Spirit move among us? He does. And does Jesus, our Messiah, hold forever those he loves? He does. Does our God intend to dwell again with us? Is anyone worthy? Is anyone whole? Is anyone able to break the seal and open the scroll? The Lion of Judah, who conquered the grave. He is David's root and the Lamb who died to ransom the slave. From every people and tribe, every nation and tongue, he has made us a kingdom and priest to God to reign with his Son. Is he worthy? Is he worthy of all blessing and honor and glory? Is he worthy? Is he worthy? Is he worthy of this? Is he worthy? Is he worthy? He is. He is.
So surprisingly today, I left my Rays stuff at home, but I found a Burton shirt. Which doesn't mean I'm a snowboarder. Importantly, I guess this is a snowboarding company, but anyway, our family has been at North Dunedin for a long time. Our kids grew up here from having Miss Jackie in the nursery to a very successful and active youth group. And for me personally, I was fortunate to be hired as the office administrator over 20 years ago. I retired a year and a half, but my years here were spent with Doug in the office, and he's an amazing guy, and I ditto to what everybody said. He has a heart for ministry. I was always involved with the choir, and I can remember Pastor Andy telling me and the staff that Pastor Doug was interested in coming to North Dunedin. And not only did I enjoy many years of working with him, but he's been a great friend, and he and Rhonda obviously we're very close to them. One of my first memories was during the week I was in the sanctuary, probably doing communion table or doing something, and these two ladies walked in the back door, and they're just laughing and chatting, and found out that was Rhonda and Jennifer. And I just remember thinking, and I even went home and told Frank, I'm like, I want to be their friends, because they just looked like they were having the best time. And we did become friends, and we've enjoyed many good times in ministry and, fun times and laughs all during the years that I've known them. So I remember coming home after the first choir practice, and I told Frank what a great director he was, and this is going to be, a good time. We've shared some great memories, and obviously we're sad to see them leave, and I wish them the best in their next chapter. But can you imagine being in Mesa, Arizona, and having these two walk in and join your choir? I mean, wow. It's like, what a blessing they're going to be wherever they land. I'm pretty sure God's got a lot in store for them. And we have their address, so we will be visiting.
You can tell I'm kind of aging Doug and I because Kyle comes up here, fancy phone. He can do his notes on the phone. I have to have lined paper. That's the way it goes. So, what can I say about Doug and Rhonda? Well, first of all, Doug. God kind of has this strange way of bringing people back together in our lives. You may not know, Doug and I went to high school together, class of 1968 in Clearwater High. So, and although Doug was a preacher's kid from like the Calvary Church, that's kind of like the Ohio State. That was a big downtown, big Baptist church in downtown, and I on the other end, who lived in Island Estates on the beach in a pretty nice neighborhood. I, on the other hand, went to the big pink Presbyterian church, who fought over parking in downtown, and I lived near Searstown and Sunshine Mall. So we really didn't, he sang, I wasn't into music back then, so we didn't really kind of hang out together, although we knew who we were. Fast forward 18 years or so, and all of a sudden Tricia comes home and says, there's a guy who's starting our church, and his name is Doug Burton, who says he went to Clearwater High. And lo and behold, it was the same Burton. I went my annual and looked him up, and yeah, he hadn't changed much. He looks pretty good. And make a long story short, we obviously reconnected after these many years, had become friends as a couple with Doug and Rhonda, and have shared many fun times together with this couple. Rhonda, I can tell you, as you know, these folks like to go out and eat, and we were privileged to get to join them when we did. And I can think of a few occasions, either in Clearwater or Dunedin or anywhere that we went, that someone didn't come up and thank Rhonda for being their teacher. So, you blessed, married a good wife. We have been blessed with a friendship over these last 18 years. You guys are genuine, funny, loyal, of much faith, and are the same people during the week that you are on Sunday. The real deal. And while it's bittersweet that you are leaving us, friendships have no geographic boundaries. God has now new plans for you guys in Arizona. And I can't wait to find out what they are, because we're going to come and visit you for sure. Normally Trish is the crier of the family, but I can't help her that in there. So anyway, we'll miss you, but I think God has big plans for you in Arizona. Thanks.
would you stand with us as we continue in a time of praise and worship?
Storms may come, I am holding on to the rock I cling. How can I keep from singing your praise? How can I ever say enough? How amazing is your love? How can I keep from shouting your name? I know I am loved by the King, and it makes my heart wanna sing. I will lift my eyes in the darkest night, for I know my Savior lives. And I will walk with you, knowing you'll see me through, and sing the song together. How can I keep from singing your praise? How can I ever say enough? How amazing is your love? How can I keep from shouting your name? I know I am loved by the King, and it makes my heart wanna sing. I can sing in the troubled times, sing when I win. I can sing when I lose my sight, fall down again. I can sing 'cause you pick me up, sing 'cause you're there. I can sing 'cause you give me hope, and I long to you and care. I can sing with my last breath, sing for I know that I'll sing with the angels and the saints around the throne. How can I keep from singing your praise? How can I ever say enough? How amazing is your love? How can I keep from shouting your name? I know I am loved by the King, and it makes my heart. I am loved by the King, and it makes my heart. I am loved by the King, and it makes my heart wanna sing.
You guys can have a seat. Before we do this next one, this is, many of you may not know this song. About a month or so ago, when we were starting to put together the plans for this service, I texted Doug and asked him what his favorite hymns and praise songs were. And so the songs that we've done this morning, for better or for worse, were the ones that Doug had asked for. And so this was one that back when Doug was leading the praise band, this was a frequent one that Doug was doing, called Your Grace Finds Me. It is a beautiful song about what the title says, how the grace of God meets us in every situation, both good times and bad times. So if you don't know this song, it's okay. Just look at the words. If you do know it, feel free to sing out. But this is a special song and one of Doug's favorites.
It's there in the newborn shadows of this life, your great grace is there on the mountain top, there in the everyday and the mundane, there in the sorrow and the dancing, your great grace, your such grace. From the creation to the cross, then from the cross into eternity, your grace finds me. Yes, your grace finds me. It's there on a wedding day, there in the weeping by the graveside, there in the very breath we breathe, your great grace. The same for the rich and poor, the same for the saint and for the sinner, enough for this whole wide world, your great grace, oh such grace. From the creation to the cross, then from the cross into eternity, your grace finds me. Yes, your grace finds me. There in the darkest night of the soul, there in the sweetest songs of victory, your grace finds me. Yes, your grace finds me. Your great grace, oh such grace. Your great grace, oh such grace. Same for the rich and poor, the same for the saint and for the sinner, enough for this whole wide world, your great grace, oh such grace. So I'm breathing in your grace, I'm breathing out your praise, I'm breathing in your grace. Forever I'll be breathing in your grace, breathing out your praise, I'm breathing in your grace. Forever I'll be breathing in your grace, breathing out your praise, I'm breathing in your grace. Forever I'll be breathing in your grace, breathing out your praise, breathing in your grace. Yes, your grace finds me. Yes, your grace finds me.
Well, thank you for joining us this morning as we remember our departed Doug and his wife, Rhonda. So these guys were supposed to talk for 3 minutes. So I'm scheduled for 20, but
Not getting 20.
okay. Do you have a mic?
Oh, probably don't need it, but yeah.
Yeah, you don't. So I wanted to give Jennifer. Oh, I can turn it on for you.
not working.
It's not working.
It's not working.
Well, just talk. But they can't hear you online.
Oh. Hello? Yeah. Oh, I'm talking first. Oh, gosh.
Yeah,
Really?
go for it.
Okay.
You have 3 minutes.
Okay. Well, I've been crying all morning, so forgive me for sounding like a blubbering idiot. But,
I'm used to it.
yeah. Andy kind of coached me for today because this is the hardest thing I have ever done. Because I know this day is about us losing Doug as our music pastor, but we're losing a wonderful woman of God as well. I'm supposed to keep to 3 things. Not quite sure how that's possible. If anyone knows Rhonda, there's like 1,000 things she's good at. But Andy and I, and Andy will tell you this when he talks about Doug, but we moved here in July of 2002 for my job, and we were really lost. At least I knew what I was doing work-wise. That's not a problem. But we thought we had something for Andy, and it fell through before we moved. So we came here, and he didn't know what he was going to do. And looking for a church, it's not like looking for a job. You don't go on to Indeed.com, and say I'm a pastor looking for a job. And so it really takes a lot of networking, and we knew no one here. And a few weeks after packing, Andy wanted to go to this church. And so we're like, yeah, sure, whatever. And that was the day we met Doug and Rhonda. Mm-hmm. And you've been a part of our lives every day since. Through every good thing and every bad thing. And there's been a lot of bad things. Doug, you are the most patient man I have ever met. Yeah. And I have loved watching you love God. Because you show it in everything you do, in everyone you talk to, in everyone you visit, everyone you call. And we are really going to miss that. Because that just doesn't happen. You can't make that happen in ministry. I'm really going to miss you. You taught me to be a better pastor's wife. And a better wife in general. You were there through the hardest time in my life in 2009. I knew I'd come out of it, but I didn't know what the journey would be. And you walked with me that journey daily. So I just want to thank you for everything that you've given to this church. I don't think we would have had, I know it's past 3 minutes, so just get over it. But I'm getting the eye. I don't think we would have had such a successful church, and I get to say that proudly, that we have a successful church, and not a lot of churches do get to say that. There's a lot of love in this church, and a lot of it is because of you guys. And I just want to thank you for the time you've given us and the time you've been here. It's not over. I know that you guys will touch some other church and touch some other congregation and bring all of your fabulousness to another church.
How do you do that? Do that again.
Yeah. But personally, I will miss your calming and patient demeanor to calm this one down. Because with me around, I'm not sure how that's going to happen anymore. But I will miss our trips to DSW and our movies, which we haven't gone since, I don't know, 5 years ago, since before Corbin. But I'm going to miss him not being here, seeing you at school. But I'll mostly miss you guys just being here in our pew with us. So, you guys have been remarkable, and the time that you've given to North Dunedin will never be forgotten. So I just want to tell you that I love you, and we're going to miss you.
Thanks, Jenny. Okay, so I'll take 3 minutes. First off, I'd like to say that to the two of you, from me to you, you're dead to me. That's an inside joke. It's not very funny. Let me get rid of my Jennifer tears here. Jennifer did tell the story of how we met. And that first Sunday that we were at Skycrest was the Sunday that Ty was there. And Doug went up on the platform and lifted up his grandson, who is now 20. Lee. How old is he? 21. And I remember looking at Jennifer and saying, well, that's a family guy. He took the kid up onto the platform. And so then we ended up being able to work together there. And then things changed. Some of you in this room know exactly what I'm talking about. And I ended up having to leave. And I didn't know what I was going to do. And I had a chance to go back to California to a church in what they call is the East Bay. It's on the other side of the Bay Bridge by San Francisco, a big church. And then I had put my name in this church. And I was told by local pastors, do not go to North Dunedin. That is that church will absolutely eat you up and spit you out. And I remember talking to Jennifer about it because the church in California offered us a job, a ministry. I would have been the lead pastor there. And I thought, you know, if I can't come in and help a church because I've been a pastor, usually it's the young guys that come right out of school that get the hard churches. Instead of, because the seasoned pastors want to go to the big ones, you know. And I was like, I think we could help. We could at least try if they asked me to be their pastor. So I turned down California before North Dunedin asked me. And North Dunedin asked me. And so we came. And little did we know that we had some friends who came with us that just really helped this church. Some of you are still here today. And then it was on May 14th, 2006 was Doug's first Sunday here. And I remember when we had the congregational vote, because Doug lost his job at the same place because he was still my friend. And so we had a vote here, and there was a number of you that came up to me and said, I don't like Doug. I don't want him here. But if you want him, I'll vote for him and give him a chance. And my response to you was, Doug was a victim of circumstances. That the Doug that I know is a Doug that will serve you well. I'm proud to say you did. You served well. Four things, and then we'll close it. Here's what I know about Doug. One, he's serious about his faith. He loves Jesus. He loves his Lord. There's nothing that God would ask Doug to do that he would say no. He's faithful. He's serious about his flock, you. He has such a pastoral heart. And I'm proud to say Alan has that heart, and so does Kyle. We are blessed, and Brad has it. I mean, we're blessed to have guys, and even Bethany. I've seen her little heart just bloom since she's been on staff. We are blessed in this church to have especially people like Doug who care about us. Number 3, he's serious about his family. He talks about you, Kara, and you, Stacy. Talks about his grandkids. And we really get tired of hearing him talk about Rhonda. He actually tells us stories about Tommy. Tells us about Matthew. So we know your family. You don't know us, but we know you better than you know us, because Doug is proud of his family and loves you very much. And then when I think of a defining passage, when I think Doug, when I think Rhonda, here's what I think of: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. That's you in a nutshell. And the other thing that Doug is very serious about is his sports. So when we were planning this, I told him he didn't need to come to staff meeting because we were planning this and we wanted to surprise him. So that's why you see a lot of Rays gear. And if you notice, Doug, there's no one wearing Alabama gear. Can you go get Corbin for me? Yeah, just go get Corbin. Oh, well. Well, how's it feel to have this your last day? So Tricia brought me a bunch of shirts. I figured the blue one was the woman's shirt. Then I tried on another one, and I think it was a woman's shirt. And then I tried on this one, and it's like I'm wearing a muumuu in here. So, Rhonda, how did the Rays do last night?
They lost.
The Rays lost. Rhonda has to go out to the garbage can and pull his stuff out of the garbage can, because every time they lose, he throws it away. And I just, if Jennifer will get back here, I wanted you to see how we dress Corbin in your honor, Doug. We do love you, and Doug has been my best friend. We took Doug and Rhonda to California to show them where we grew up and all of that, and met some friends in San Francisco. And then they flew out earlier than we did, and I accidentally booked their flight out of San Jose instead of San Francisco. So they had to get up like 4 in the morning and have some guy drive them, and it was crazy. Hey, Corbin, come here. So, can you say, "Go Auburn"? I think I speak for all of us. Everybody would want to say something to you. And we know that you're going to bless some other people as you've blessed us. You cannot not use your gifts, and I know it's going to happen. But you have helped here for 16 years make this church a special place. And church, I want you to know this, that even though they're dead to me, the church is not dead. It's just, it'll change. It'll be a little different. But we're still here. God still has a future for North and Eden. These two deserve to ride off into the sunset, even if it is Arizona. But they deserve that, and we bless them with that. So we have a video, I think, next. Personnel's next. Miss Marie, let me get that microphone for you. You have one? All right.
But I'm not mushy. Can you hear me? Oh, there we go. Okay. So this congregation does love and appreciate you so much, and we thank you. And when we want to thank somebody who's going into retirement, we want to gift them. But you downsized. And when I said to Doug, what do you think you're going to do? He said, I don't need anything, nothing. Okay, point taken. But we wanted to give you something that would remind you of how much this congregation loves you. We needed something memorable. We needed something experiential. Yeah. So, with a little help from your family in Arizona, on behalf of this congregation, we want to give you each a 2-year membership to the Boyce Thompson Arboretum, which is the largest and oldest botanical garden in Arizona. It is 45 minutes from your place in Mesa, because we measured. And it has lots of guest passes for the family and friends who will visit with you. Thank you so much for being our worship leader.
We love you guys and gals, and this has been a joy for us to serve here these 16 years. And I can't think of anything bad. I can only think of the good things. I love Andy, really. He's not going to be dead to me. And gosh, this whole hour's been embarrassing. So, but I don't think God could have put us in a better place 16 years ago. And the joy, the friends that we've made, the friends that have come and gone from here, it's been a blessing, really and truthfully, to both of us. I could not have done it without the lady next to me. She's...
Stop. I can handle almost anybody crying, just not you. Oh my goodness! Thank you, everybody. It's just the Lord. It's God, and He's at work, and He's at work here. And here's what I've been telling everybody, and this is how I've been maintaining, is that we're going on an extended vacation to Arizona and come and visit. But that doesn't mean that we won't be back, but we are moving. But we are thankful and grateful, and I cannot look at Jennifer. I will not be able to say a word, or Mary or Trisha and girls, but it's an honor and a privilege we've had to serve you here, serve beside him, and all the memories and joys that we've gone through we treasure. And I'm certain we won't find a congregation like this again, but we'll look for one. So just thank you very, very much.
I'm glad that she surprised me by flying our girls in, and I'm glad that they could be here, and Tommy and Matthew and Sherry and Joanne and the kids and Mr. Williams. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it. We love you all. Thank you.
We put together a little video for you.
Well, for the last time, I want us to stand and sing our benediction.
Before we do, I started the wave ministry to the TV because of my sister and her husband, Steve, out in Arizona, are watching. And so I started waving to them. And then we started hearing from people that saw us waving, and they really appreciated it. I know Jan and John are back there. And so I fully expect to see people waving at the camera when we're out there watching you guys. So please make sure you wave.
May the Lord mighty God. May the Lord mighty God bless and keep you forever. Grant you peace, perfect peace, peace in every endeavor. Lift up your eyes and see His face, know His grace forever. May the Lord mighty God bless and keep you forever.
Goodbye, Rhonda. So I was going to say a grace for our food and a blessing on Doug and Rhonda. Father, I just pray for both of them. I'm excited for them, jealous that they get to do this, but excited for them. Pray that you would help them with all the transitions that need to happen. I'm so glad they have young grandsons that can help them unpack and get their house together. And we just pray now as we fellowship around some food. I thank you for those who've been laboring over there while we've been in the church, and that you would bless our conversation and food. And we pray this in Christ's name. Amen.